we've gone through a couple rounds, small and mostly with angel money from it, and pay it back.
Gotcha. Cochran of Oru Kayak is on Radio for Small Business right now, homeabiz.com. Connect, capitalize, go. Andy, you mentioned raising funds from friends and family, and by now you've got a little bit of experience. What are some tips that you can give other entrepreneurs who may be thinking about asking Uncle Ted for a few $1,000s?
It's a great question. So, like I mentioned to you a bit ago, we've done it through crowdfunding and through angels, and we've also appeared on Shark Tank.
That's right, yes.
So we've danced that dance too. The advice I'd give for even asking is to really do your homework and see if you need to ask for it. You know, people are really intrigued by raising money, and here in the Bay we see it a lot. And one of kind of the most salient, the most important piece of advice I've gotten in my career is do not take investment if you don't need it. I think that, you know, it's essentially it's giving up control of your company, and not in a, you know, selfish, you need everything type of way, but
right.
just in having autonomy to make business decisions rapidly without a large board, without investors can dictate some of that is really helpful. And, you know, that's a piece of advice I got and heeded, and it's been important for me and us is to, when we didn't need it, don't take it.
So, Andy, you know, most entrepreneurs, they'll say, of course I need money right now. We want a widget or something like that. How do you talk them down off the ledge to help them be real with themselves about whether or not they need to go raise capital?
Well, I would explain to them that if their product isn't profitable by itself, then taking money now is only going to put them in a larger problem of you know, how do they work themselves out of that? So it's only going to make you struggle more. You know, you'll be paying that back and trying to stay in the black at the same time. You know, which kind of complicates or almost, you know, doubles that problem. So we see most of, you know, people around us. It's almost the fastest way to sink yourself is to take on, you know, a large investment that you can't pay back. And you know, it seems so intriguing because it's cash up front and you can make moves right now, you know, and you're the new cool kid on the block that raised, you know, such and such amount.
But eventually you got to pay the piper, right?
Right. So, you know, my methodology is to do small prototyping all the time. So if people are, you know, have really validated their product, you know, that they can execute it, that the market really demands it, and they've done, you know, sufficient testing in that sense through real pilots, you know, getting it in people's hands, selling it in, you know, small exclusive runs, and they know the demand's there, they know they can manufacture it, or they can build it if it's software. Then yeah, I mean, then you can look at yourself, you know, honestly in the eye and say, cool, I'll take investment, I'll accelerate this business to the next step.
Okay.
But until you've done that due diligence, seems a little risky to me.
Stay away from it, right?
And not risky in a good way. You know, there's good risk in business decisions, and then there's just dumb risk.
I like the way you said it. Andy Cochran, owner of Oru Kayak. What's the website? Give the listeners the website.
The website is orukayak.com. That's O-R-U and kayak, which is spelled is a better way to think about it.
Gotcha. Andy.
ABC's Shark Tank BC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the Podcast for Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new Radio for Small Business.
It's Radio for Small Business on homeabiz.com. My next guest is probably the smartest one I've ever talked to, okay? Mark Melney with Melney Connectors. I've got to tell you right now, welcome to the show, and you're definitely smarter than me.
And see it.
Wow. Is that getting that quick?
No, not at all. Matter of fact, in 2010, we went to Boise, Idaho, and we participated in what they call the Tech Launch 7. It was the Entrepreneur of the Year / Inventor of the Year. and we won that contest. When we did, it opened up the door for a lot of things. Looking at our company just as an invention company.
Wow.
And so the nature of my invention is it's really disruptive. It's the electrical industry has been going on for 60, 70 years doing the same type of connections between their cables and their wires. And you know what that is. Would be a crimp. And you saw it on the show. It's a regular piece of pipe that you take a very heavy pair of pliers, you squeeze it down, that pipe squeezes down on top of the conductors, and that gives you your connection between two cables. Yeah, that's the standard crimp. And then in the industry, they take this crimp, which is a piece of metal. Again, it looks kind of like a metal pipe, and then they wrap it with tape, cambric tape, or the different types of tapes that they have, electrical tape, and to make it moisture-proof or environmentally insulated from the from the ground, etc.
Wow.
So what my invention does is it as the two conductors come into each other inside of my connector, then there's a spiral activity inside there that closes down on top of the conductor, similar to like Chinese finger trap, which makes a really excellent contact between the whole surface area of the conductor and the connector, and then radially tightens down on top of it.
And like you said, it's offering a faster, effective way to transfer power. Now, as a consumer, what does that mean to me on the consumer side?
We are going right now. We're concentrating on our commercial activities. We feel that the best way to enter this marketplace is through the commercial area, because the people that are going to be using it, the electricians, the linemen, these are the guys that really know their products. When it gets into their hands and you start, it's going to be kind of the trickle-down effect, where the professionals are saying, okay, this is the right way to go, and then it's going to go towards the residential and the home market. The very first device, just to give you an idea of the simplicity for making the connector with the Melny connector, as opposed to a standard 4-aught, what I described before, the 4-aught crimp that you have to use these huge, crimpers or whatever to do. My wife, Mary, she made the very first 4-aught connection with a Melny connector, using a pair of pliers, tightening it down and then tightening down the end caps, which allow the insulator to be a part of the connector, so that it literally has a positive rejection of moisture and environment and stuff like that. So that gives you an idea how it will start going towards the residential.
So as it gets picked up more commercially, eventually I, as a consumer, will be able to see some benefit. Well, I won't see it probably, but I'll get the benefit of it, right?
You will be able to see it at your different outlets, like the typical do-it-yourself outlets like Lowe's and Home Depot and True Value. This is going to be our next area that we're going to be releasing this into. Now, some of our product, you've seen the ones that were on the show, and we have a vast array of products that go all the way from a battery terminal connector that would go on top of your automotive or truck or bus battery to start the vehicle, all the way down to a Romex type connector that would be used inside the home. I don't know what you've done electrically, but you know what a wire nut is.
Safer, more cost.
The zap nut, which is zero amp, but it literally slides over the top of the conductors, let's say 3 or 4 conductors that you would be tightened together just like you would in a light fixture, and then you would twist about a quarter turn to a half turn twist on my zap nut, and then it collapses the internal workings of the insert, and then boom, it goes around the conductors, and it has a higher pull rate than a standard wire nut.
Now, you mentioned that obviously that you want the commercial side on. With that, the professionals are going to be vouching for you, and when you raised capital, right, you took a professional 30-year veteran lineman onto the ABC Shark Tank. Tell us about the process, not necessarily yet of the show, but some of the things that you prepared for to prepare for the questions that you would have to answer.
I'll tell you, that's the best part. It is really the best part. I mean, when Shark Tank contacted, first of all, the odd part about this whole thing was that we got contacted by Shark Tank.
Wow.
It wasn't we were, originally they told us there was 42,000 applicants for season 6. in Boise, I was invited to introduce Robert Herjavec to the Boise Business Convention. So I got to spend actual, some private time with Herjavec, and wow, what a cool guy. He was the original shark that I was, I wanted to partner with, because he's kind of a fun kind of a guy.
He seems like that on the show, yeah.
Yeah, he does, and in real life, he is. He's very. I've read his book, and it was probably one of the best books moving forward for business people to look at. It has more of a serendipity type of hard work, but letting your bliss kind of lead you towards the end. But anyway, I sat and talked with him, and he explained some of the insides of the show that was outstanding. It wasn't 42,000; it was 120,000 applicants.
OMG!
I know they added. He was explaining that what we were looking at was the actual people that were sending in the emails and sending in all these applications were about 42,000. The 120,000 came from the different cities. These guys, the producers, go out to Chicago, to L.A., to New York, whatever, and they have these casting calls where people will come in and show their inventions. So Herjavec was explaining to us the show has just incredibly gone.
It's a wonderful show. Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, they've gone into 20 English-speaking countries now. So,
wow.
So we get calls. Literally last week, we got 4 emails from large distributors in India.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, these people want to sell our product, and we've gotten Brunei, we've gotten Australia, New Zealand, all these English-speaking countries that see my product, they want to sell it. So the show has been outstanding. Now, when they first called us, and I said, that's great, I wanted to bring 4 guys with me. The one representative from the Northwest Linemen's College, which is they produce a lot of your power linemen across the country and Canada, etc. And then also Byron Dunn, who was that lineman that was on the show.
Right.
30-year man who's put over, he's figured between 5,000 and 10,000 of these crimps in his 30-year period, which is not a bad way to think about it.
Right.
Probably more like 3,000 to 5,000. But anyway, this guy is amazing. He's a maverick. So when he saw my product, he at first I went on to his blog and I said, hey, I've got a new product. His secretary sent back and said, look, you cannot advertise your product on our blog. And then I said, well, this is more of a, here's a safety item, and here's something I just want to get people's opinion on it. So then I said, let me talk to the boss. I talked to Byron. And, at first he was just, okay, send me one. Let me take a look at it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I sent him one. I did the things. And then, after he looked at it and experimented, boom, he wants to invest in the product, and he was so excited about it. He still is. I mean, he's our number one fan, and he's brought all the linemen into that. So that right there, that as an investment goes, it was when he saw it, and he's been around it for a long time, boom, he dropped $50,000 into the invention.
That says a lot from somebody with that type of experience in the industry, and that brought you a lot of credibility on the show, didn't it?
Well, that's it, and that the producers. Here's the part that people that was amazing to us, but it worked out very, it worked out great. The producer Mark Burnett's office called and said, "No, you can't bring Byron. You can only go just the 2 of you, and that's what your finances are for." I said to the producer, I said, "Look, I'll pay for Byron to go. Let's take him. He's it's really important." And then she said, "No,